Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 604 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Christian D. Evans, and he's going to talk about scaling your business. Everybody wants to increase their business, and this guy knows how to do it. And my research on the guy, he's been working since I think he was a baby and for his dad or something for about 10 years. So I think from 1 year old to 11, maybe. We'll see what he says about that. So we'll have him on in a minute. And make sure you pick up a copy of our automation ebook. This ebook, just one of the tips in here, folks. One, and this is not exaggeration. We estimated a couple years ago, saved me 7.5 million keystrokes. You are crazy if you don't use these inexpensive and free tips and tricks. I want you working with customers and developing products and services and doing all the prospecting you can and not fighting with your computer. In this book, it's about 60, 70 pages, tells you how I've done it for many, many years. So check that out at screwthecommute.com/automate free. And while you're at it, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. Now, the App Store messed up and lost it for a few days, but it's back up there now, so you can put it on your cell phone and tablet. Take us with you on the road. Now, we're still going strong in our program that I'm so proud of. I've raised money for all kinds of stuff over the years, but I'm really proud of this program. We're doing scholarships for in internet and digital marketing for persons with disabilities. And we have 2 people in the program that are blind, and they shoot better videos than I do. So very, very inspiring. We're going to get them either hired and good paying jobs or start their own business or both, but I'm just thrilled to be involved with, and we'd love to have your help at Screw the Commute. No, don't go to Screw the Commute. Go to my school site at imtcva.org/disabilities. And of course, that'll be in the show notes, and check out the GoFundMe campaign. You can actually see videos of them giving you updates on what they're learning and what they're doing. Just very inspiring. I'm thrilled to be involved in it. All right, let's get to the main event. Christian D. Evans is here, and he's got the brand Be Uncommon, and also Christian D. Evans is his brand, and he's a business consultant agency for business owners that are doing $750,000 to as much as you want to take it up to, but they want to scale it and kick it up to maybe 5 million or more. Now, he helps business owners put in place systems and processes and marketing and sales structure to take small businesses and turn them into sustaining companies. Let's see. Oh boy. So he's helped clients. He's only been doing this for, I don't know, not enormous amount of time. And he's helped make 21 million bucks for these people. So Christian, are you ready to screw the commute?
Yes, man. Yes, man. Hey, Tom, I really appreciate this time. Love what you got going on here, and excited for our time together, man.
Yeah, this is great. Now, so you've been in the business world since you were a baby, right? You're starting for your dad.
Exactly. So he actually had a real estate company. He had about 13, 14 houses. After the divorce between him and my mom, they dropped down to, I think, 6 houses. Though I remember numerous times where he was, a big believer in sweat equity, and I would clean out the dirty diapers. We'd have low caliber tenants in there, and they'd be smoking up a storm, and they would be nasty, and we'd be going in there cleaning Clorox, and I'd mow the yards. Probably 6, 7. I had all 14 houses at one point, and so I had to mow all the lawns and all the stuff, and but obviously that helped me with
work ethic. It's a work ethic.
Work ethic. Yeah, sure, but also just like understanding, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, well, that
was the biggest thing.
Nothing wrong with that, but I mean, I wish everybody would start out working and doing some manual work or service work or something, because then they'll appreciate the things that they have now. And so you got a good start in that. And then again, we have Veterans Month, and we're very pro-military here. You spent 9 years in the military?
Yeah, so I was actually what is called a logistics coordinator. So I helped a lot of people basically go from point A to point B in the quickest, fastest way possible. And so whenever we get deployed or whenever our people would get deployed, I'd be responsible for that. Now I was just National Guard, so I was in Ohio National Guard at that time, and never got deployed, thankfully, but I did facilitate a lot of deployments and watch a lot of our guys go to different places. So that was really cool and a really cool experience. And again, I really appreciate you emphasizing it. Definitely with today's world, we definitely need our military
Yeah, that's for
top
sure. And
notch.
and quit saying just National Guard. I mean, if I wanted anybody national on my team, it'd be National Guard people. So it's great. Now and also in my research about you, I think you should quit what you're doing and then just go do supply chain management for the people that are messing it up currently.
I know this is a whole shenanigans going on, isn't there? I mean, gracious, and it's so funny because you got all these people that have an opinion. They all like, oh, this is what we need to do, and the reality is, I don't care what we need to do, just do it.
Do it, do something.
I,
Yeah.
I don't need you to tell me. Just go out there and pick up a shovel and do something, right?
I
Drive a
mean,
truck.
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about trying to, produce some breast milk to help out myself.
We all got to do our part, right?
Well, yeah,
It's
you're
all-
allowed to do that nowadays. I understand. So no, when I was a kid, you couldn't, but apparently you can now. So now, what do you think? Yeah, you really help these business with these processes. What do you think are the biggest mistakes small business people make when they're trying to scale?
Yeah, one of the things is, Thomas, and I really appreciate bringing this up because what I'm seeing consistently over and over, I work with a lot of service providers, but in many, many different categories. And majority of the time, they're at $1 million, $2, $3 million, and they want to scale to that 10, 10 million, 8 figure, 9 figure mark. And the reality though is when you're at a million, 2 million, you don't really have really developed systems and processes. And so what I realized that you're averaging about 80 to 100, $120,000 a month coming in revenue. And again, it depends upon your margin. But in order to scale, sometimes you have to take 2 steps back to get 7, 8 feet, forward. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've noticed is that's kind of what I do is I help a lot of people that are a million, 2 million, and I basically pull them back a little bit. The revenue may shrink for 2, 3 months, but what happens during that time is very, very necessary. And that is putting in systems, hiring the right people, the right team members to facilitate those systems and processes. And so then as the owner and the CEO, you are not sitting there working with that client anymore. You're more of, okay, managerial and kind of vision of where the company is going and how to scale, right? And that's what your job should be as the CEO and business owner. And so, then what happens is you start really putting on more ad spend on the front end of the business or different acquisition channels on the front end. You go full throttle, and now you have systems in place. And what I mean by systems, very simply, is like we're talking referral systems to really scale, and
Mm-hmm.
your cost to acquire customers is really, really low. You're also talking about systems and making sure that your churn rate on the back end is really low as well, a healthy churn rate. And like
Yeah,
you
explain to people what the churn means.
yeah, churn rate basically means is like when you have acquire a client, you don't want them to leave naturally, right? Because obviously the longer, you've spent a lot of money to acquire that client. So you want to make sure that that client doesn't leave. And in order to make sure that they don't leave is, well, produce results for them, right? And so the faster you can produce results for that client, the most likely they will stay with you for a very long time. However, though, what I'm realizing is a lot of companies don't. And so you have a lot of churn rate. And so what that means is you have 100 clients coming in, and maybe 6, 9, 12 months down the road, 50% of those, or 40%, or 30% of those clients are leaving you. And you do not want to do that because in order to really scale your business, you have to focus on three things. And Jay Abrams talks a lot about this is acquire a client, increase the revenue, sell them more stuff of that client, and then increase your prices. And those are the only really three ways to grow and scale a business. And so that's the way I structure it. But in order to do that, there has to be a lot of systems, right? It's easy to said, but it's so much more difficult actually being done. And that's kind of why I come alongside someone. I say, okay, hey, because I've been there, done that. I actually, sold a business, scaled a business to 10 million, sold it. And now I help other individuals do the same thing and build that foundational 8 figure, 9 figure business.
Well, I think, boy, the thing that's bugging me here is like if you were helping a psychiatrist, um, and then they they kept their clients forever, that wouldn't be so good.
Well, the cool thing is Tom, you're exactly right. So let's take that as an example. So a lot of times they think, hey, you know what? My job in that situation is to facilitate, hey, getting that problem solved. And that's 100% their job, right? The same thing with a
Mhm.
doctor. However, though, what do doctors and dentists do? Oh, checkups, right? And that's how they have that reoccurring income consistently, right? Now, it may not be every month, but it may be every 6-month check-in, right? And that right there is so powerful because now all of a sudden you have a massive, massive influx of clients. And naturally, out of those clients that you already have that are do checkups, they're naturally going to have, higher ticket procedures, right? Root canal, whatever it may be, or like, psychiatrist, right? They may most likely will have other clients that they're struggling with or they run into. And so that's where you can obviously upsell them other things, right?
Or they
So you
could
don't
be
think
expert witnesses for Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
exactly, exactly. You know how it goes.
Hey, when you're looking, look back to that 3-month period where you said their revenue may decrease a little bit.
Yes.
I guess I can solve that easily. You just blame it on Putin.
Exactly. Yeah, or blame it on inflation or blame
Oh
it on
yeah, you
this.
blame it on anything you want. Yeah, you can blame it on. And you were saying about going to a managerial position. I was invited over to this billionaire's house. He and his wife, and we were having dinner. And he said, "Tom, you should just be sitting at the pool thinking." That was his bottom line. Rather than I'm kind of a blue collar, hands on kind of guy. I mean, I could have
Yeah.
quit a long time ago, but I love to have my fingers in the thing. Yeah, he said you just should be thinking. And then I was thinking about the numbers you were talking about too. Those can slide up quite a bit if you're concentrating on digital products because they're 97% profit. So we've gone to almost full digital and service rather than any kind of physical product where the margins are thinner.
Yes, correct. And you're seeing that in the e-com space as well.
Hmm.
Obviously the margins are tighter in that. That's why a lot of individuals are going for more of coaching consulting. That's why you see a huge, massive explosion in that industry. And like you said as well, information. And it's actually very interesting because um, because the educational system is not really developed to be able to, produce results. And what
Just
I mean by
just
that is like,
just say it sucks because I'm
yeah,
really
yeah.
against the current setting in the supposed traditional 4-year college crap. They'd be in jail if they weren't colleges, for what they're doing to kids.
Right, and we see that consistently, and because of that, now there are more experts in the industry, right? You
Hmm.
you you go through life, you obviously facilitate certain skills, and those skills are need to be distributed to other individuals, and obviously people are willing to pay a lot of money for those skills and to acquire that, and that may be sales, that may be psychiatry, that may be psychology, whatever it may be. But what's so nice is we're seeing some massive, massive influx to where majority of individuals are making that larger amount of cash flow, which is of course where consultants come from
Now,
and experts.
are a lot of the companies you're dealing with doing more outsourcing
Outsourcing,
rather than employees having contractors?
well, it's one of those things, yes and no. One of the things that I'm seeing consistently is you obviously want to delegate lower tasks, and obviously you want to outsource that. And what's so nice about in today's world is because everything has online, your career pool or your skill pool has increased drastically. So
Hmm.
now you can hire someone in India that's actually better and perform better and less expensive than someone here in the United States, and vice versa. And that's never been like that within the last 5-7 years, which is really cool. And so that's one of the reasons why you're also seeing some massive explosion, because you can basically hire someone that has a really amazing skill and maybe digital marketing or maybe paid acquisition or funnel optimization or something like that, and you can acquire them, have them work on your website, your design, your e-commerce store or whatever, and you start seeing massive influx. And all you have to do is really just be the visionary and the business owner itself, and just have the vision bringing everything together. So yes, I see both of that. Now if you're talking higher level like C-suite managerial, head of growth, those individuals, I would highly recommend keeping them in-house. There are like CMO, fractional CFO,
Yeah, they got
fractional CFOs and stuff.
rent a CFO, kind
Right,
of
right.
places.
Yeah, and I do see the value in that if the opportunity presents itself, because obviously some individuals, though, you got to just be aware of, like, you normally have to have about 250,000 per head, of cash flow coming in for that individual,
Hmm.
to have them on full time. So that's kind of the margins on that. So in order to, you just got to make sure, hey, if you have three individuals and you're only doing about $1 million in revenue, you probably shouldn't have three individuals, right? You need
Hmm.
to be doing about 2-3 million, because you have to understand you have to have basically 250,000 cash per head of
Got it.
of um, of employee. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, so I think what some of the things you're alluding to with the owners and of the businesses is they should be doing what's called strategic thinking. I think I've seen you come out with some information on that topic.
Yes, yes. We actually had a podcast,
Hmm.
a guest on mine. We talked about the difference between tactics and, strategic thinking and marketing, right? And a lot of individuals get this wrong because, see, and it kind of comes back to my process. And a lot of business owners, they always think, oh, I need just more lead generation, right? Oh, I need more qualified leads coming in, because then if I have more qualified leads coming in on the front end, naturally I'll make more money, and that's how I grow and scale. And the reality, that is actually a false belief. It's actually preventing you from scaling to 8-9 figures. And the reason why I say that is because if you do not have the infrastructure to produce results and your churn rate is really high for your clients, then naturally it doesn't matter how many people you bring in. It doesn't matter if they're qualified. Guess what? You're not able to convert them and perform, right, long term. As well as, let's say, for example, your sales conversions. Let's say, for example, they're 5%. Maybe you have a sucky sales team and you don't realize that, and you're not converting them. And so again, it's not, you could have amazing qualified leads coming in, but if your sales team isn't converting, well, you're screwed. And then also, one of the strategies I always focus on, a lot of times when I'm seeing, businesses at 1 million, 2 million, they already have clients. And one of the things I always talk about with a lot of individuals to really decrease the churn and increase profitability is really niching down. And what do I mean by this is, I was talking to a digital marketing agency the other day, and I said, okay, who are your clients? And he said, well, I got a retail brand that I work with, website and design, whatever. I also have a manufacturing, and I have a real estate guy, a real estate business, and then also have, e-commerce. And what I said, okay, well, you got four different industries that you have to be basically experts at. And what I mean by that is, you think about their clients, you have to figure out marketing strategies, tactics, things like that, to attract those individuals, to make sure that they are profitable and you have a successful campaign. And that's one of the reasons why we see a lot of average company and business owner has, like, leveraged like 4 or 5, 7 marketing agencies throughout the life of their company. And that's very common. And the reality is, because they jump from one, they don't see the results, so they jump to another, they don't see the results, so they jump to another marketing agency, and vice versa, whatever. And so that's one of the reasons why I see this consistently happening. And it doesn't matter if you have this massive flow of leads coming in qualified. Guess what? If you don't fix those other things in your business structure, definitely at 1 million, $2 million, you're never able to scale and build a foundational 8 and 9 figure business. And then a lot of it has to do with hiring the right people, right? So as you start acquiring more clients, you're going to need to acquire a higher talented individuals, right? The individuals that you have in place right now you know, will not be in the headspace mentally or whatever, to be able to withstand that 8 figure, 9 figure business. So you really have to hire higher quality people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now that niche you were talking about, it reminds me when I started my speaking career. I actually went to 87 different industries in my first 5 years, and 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 I'm not complaining about, because I got one heck of a business education because I customized for every one of those industries. But all the elders in the speaking industry were telling me, "Man, you got a niche. You got a niche." I'm like, "Oh, it's too boring. I don't," and then finally, after 87 industries in 5 years, I said, you know what, I'm getting exhausted with this, and so I niched, and then boom, my fee went 4 times higher, and and it was easy to customize, and oh, it was yeah. So I'm a big believer in that. But again, I got such a massive education from doing the other, so I'm not crying about it for sure. Now, you do something interesting in December that I think most people do in January with regard to goal setting. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I appreciate bringing this up. So one of the things that I think a lot of individuals do is they always focus on January. It's like, okay, you know what,
Hmm.
this is awesome, so excited, whatever, and what does the future look like? But one of the things that I've learned, and definitely from failures, and this is something that I think the proper way of looking at failures or whatever, you look at the year and you analyze the year, and you basically say, okay, what were some goods, what were some bads, what did I learn, what could I optimize, what could I produce, right? And this is something I learned from John Maxwell, because now he does it more micro, and he does it on a weekly basis. I don't do it on a weekly
Wow.
basis. I do it kind of holistically. Yeah, and obviously that's the reason why he's able to produce incredible results. So maybe I should do it, at a micro micro level as well on a weekly basis. However, though, for now, that's one of the things that I started doing. And what I mean by this is not just like, okay, what did I learn? Wonderful. Okay, cool. Next time, right? It's more like really, really dialing in and say, okay, here's this failure, this really amazing business opportunity. Okay, I failed, right? There was a $2 million, $3 million. How do I simplify, right, in my life? How can I take more things off my plate and focus on, top 3 or 4 things? And this is something that I think a lot of A players really struggle with. And I think if you're out there performing in your job or you're a C-suite or whatever, you like to take on more things. And Tom, you're probably this way as well. You love to just, you're ambitious, you're motivated. Oh, I can do it. I can do it better. And the thing is that is a benefit and a curse at the same time. The benefit is because you're ambitious, you can get the job done faster, quicker than probably anybody else. However, though, you also have to know your place sometimes. You probably perform the best when you are visionary, when you're making connections, when you're making relationships or whatever. That's the same thing that I notice. And then I am not the best at, okay, hey, I want to manage this campaign. Oh, I'm the best at adjusting those copywriting or that email, whatever. I need to delegate those responsibilities. And I know a lot of people have heard that. However, though, it's like even at a higher level. And what I mean by this is like, you think about Elon Musk, and I think Bill Gates has done this tremendously. See, obviously, if you look at the evolution of his exit, he went out there. He was a CEO for Microsoft for many years. Then what did he do? He pulled himself back, found a CEO, high level. He went on the board. Now there was a succession plan. He was on the board for like 5 or 7 years, I think. And then he's just recently, within the last 2 years ago, to pulled off the board fully. Now he still is a majority owner or a large portion owner in Microsoft, and however, though, he pulled himself out. And so you even think about delegating that high level company that he owns. That's what I mean in regards to like full delegation. And a lot of times you have to remember, you don't have to have an exit strategy out of your business. You could totally delegate and have a CEO and have a board of directors and have these individuals running, and you're coming over there and golf and enjoy life, or fixing AIDS or whatever you do, right? But my point is sometimes we got to think really large and say, okay, you know what, the only things that I really need to do is be the best husband to my wife, or be the best boyfriend to my girlfriend, right? Whatever it is, like this, when you really start getting down to, there's only a very few things that nobody else can do, and only you can do them.
See, I'm gonna work up to be like Bill Gates so that I can quit whatever I'm doing and push vaccines.
There we go. There you go.
so, so tell them about your podcast.
Yeah. So what's really nice, Tom, is we've had a really cool, massive growth. We've had the opportunity. Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast is my podcast, and the whole goal behind it is just a journey, right? Being
Well,
able
slow
to
down. Tell
document.
them you like kind of slurred through that. Tell them what it's called.
Yeah, Journey with Christian D. Evans
Journey with
podcast.
Christian D. Evans, not just
Yeah,
Christian Evans, Christian D. Evans.
yes, Christian D. Evans, and one of the things is it's just my journey. It's documenting individuals that I talk to. And so I've got theologians, I've got business people, I have 8, 9 figure entrepreneurs that I've had on my podcast. And we just talk business concepts, but also just life concepts. We've had incredible physicists, neurologists, individuals that are talking about the brain. And the biggest thing is just a conversation, knowing their story, where they came from, and really giving value to our audience. And so that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed is like, I just love building relationships, adding value to people, and seeing how we can just collaborate and bring everybody with us. And so we've had we just pushed over like 100,000, 120,000 actually listeners, which is really exciting. Again, we're still growing. We obviously really want to explode that, but with this opportunity we just had, very humbling experience to be able to network with some of these incredible people. And that's kind of our biggest thing. And then as well as I do a lot of like you mentioned, a lot of B2B service provider. I help those individuals, and so you can take a look at a lot of our LinkedIn content, because that just gives you a lot of just value, and said, okay, I'm stuck at this spot. I don't know why. I always thought in order to grow and scale an agency or my business, I was in the misconception that, oh, I need more qualified leads, and the reality is that's just a lie that you've told yourself, other people have told you, or you've told other individuals. And so that's kind of my whole goal, is to kind of um, explain and share with people. You got to focus on the things that will produce results in your life as well as in your business.
Now, is the LinkedIn content under your name or under the Uncommon brand?
Yeah, it's actually Christian D. Evans. So yeah, if you
Okay.
type in Christian D. Evans anywhere, you can find me. Social media, Instagram, mostly on LinkedIn, because that's where most of our audience is at. Mhm.
Awesome. All right, we got to take a brief sponsor break, and then when we come back, we'll get Christian to tell us if he has a morning routine, how what's a typical day looks like for him, and maybe how he transitioned from the dreaded jobs that he had into this business. So, folks, about 25 years ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing guru world on its head, in that people at my level were charging 50 or 100 grand up front to help small business people. I'm talking really small business people. And I knew a lot of these people. They'd be hiding out. They'd never, you give them 50 grand, you'd never see them again. So I said, that's too risky for people. So I decided to piss them all off and charge like 10% as an entry fee to my program. And for me to get my 50,000, you had to net 200,000. Well, people love this, and 1,700 plus students later, and 25 years, still going strong. And I don't know where those guys are, but I'm still here kicking. So I coin it, and I triple dog dare people to put a program up against mine, because I'm such a crazy fanatic that I call it the longest running, most unique, most successful internet and digital marketing program ever. And it's been running, like I said, almost from the beginning of the internet, which I started in 1994, which was the beginning of the commercial internet. And then we have an immersion weekend at the retreat center here. We actually live in the house, this big estate with me. We have our own TV studio where we shoot videos for you. Everything is one-on-one. We don't believe in any group coaching, because you don't get lumped in with anybody more advanced or less advanced. And you have access to my entire staff. Plus, you get a scholarship to my school, which you can either use yourself for extra training or gift to someone and save yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars with a worthless 4-year degree in basket weaving or whatever they're selling nowadays. So check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. No pressure, no high pressure here, no big upsells, just high value. All right, let's get back to the main event. We got Christian D. Evans here. He helps businesses scale. And Christian, what's a typical day look like for you? Do you have a morning routine? What time do you get up? What do you eat? What's your story?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking, Tom. One of the biggest things is I really don't have like a strict, crazy, I'm jumping in 60-degree, water, and, saying my affirmations and, meditating. I do wake up really early. I've noticed I am more of a morning person. I do wake up just 4:45 a.m. I'm going to be honest, I do snooze sometimes. I wake up at 5:20, and that's okay, right?
Oh,
Give yourself
man, what a
grace.
slacker. Geez, I didn't know we we're having such a slacker on here.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna shoot straight. And so one of the things though is I do read the Bible. I do focus on meditation. What helps me is I visualize. Something I learned from, I forget the guy's name, but anyways, a good meditator, Joe Dispenza, actually, he talks about meditation, the power of it. I only do it for 20 minutes. I don't do it for like 2 hours like he does, but that does help. I don't do it every day. I do probably like maybe 4 or 5 times a week, and it just allows me to clear my head. I have noticed that it does help me with my focus as well as my energy, as well as just where I'm going, and then just visualize kind of what that future looks like. And then also what happens is I do a lot of like heavy work early in the morning, and just get on my computer and do what I need to do with
Oh,
the
you
bigger
don't mean heavy
projects.
lifting.
No, Lord have
No.
mercy. No, the things that take the most energy. Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I'm done with the heavy lifting now.
okay.
I have someone else do that. No, and then later on, 5, 6, I'm done, and I go out and have some fun. I do some volleyball. I'm very active with soccer and stuff, and then I am looking to get my pilot's license as well because I want
Oh,
to.
did you know I was
Yeah.
a charter pilot?
No, I did not. That's
Yeah, I was a
awesome.
charter
Okay,
pilot.
right on.
Yeah, for anything up to like 8, 10 seat planes. No airlines or anything. Yeah,
Nice. Right
yeah.
on, right on. Do you have your own? Do you still have the
No,
license or no?
oh, we always have the license. It's just you have to get current.
Right.
So I'm not current. I haven't flown for a while, but you always have the license unless you do something stupid and get it taken away. Uh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
commercial multi-engine instrument Part 135, which is a higher level commercial. But yeah, you'll love it. Now, but I will give you a tip. Have you started the training yet?
I have not. I'm looking actually to do it in beginning of Q3 actually. So
All right.
July.
Well, let me give you a tip. Go out and buy a private pilot course for all the written stuff and study the hell out of it and pass your written test before you start going in the airplane. Because the cockpit is the worst classroom on earth for learning the theories and concepts. And so you will get your license so much faster if you get in the plane and say, "Oh, I recognize that VOR and how to work it and everything." So that's my advice to you. But I got a 97 on the written before I ever set foot in a plane, and then bam, 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 I got my license, no trouble. Where if you're sitting there trying to think of the concepts of, okay, this visual thing, what do I do here, and what about icing, and yeah,
Yeah, that does make sense. I appreciate you sharing that
yeah.
because that I would never have thought of that actually because it's just totally different, right? Instead of application, it's actually very theory, and you got to do.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
huh.
the whole thing is, I mean, sitting up there and driving the plane is easy. It is, I mean, here's here was a typical scenario whenever I had a plane that had at least a curtain between me and the passengers. So you take off, you click the autopilot on, and then you put the seat back and you pull out your magazine. That's, now if
don't
the,
don't tell everybody, and that's why we're paying you the big bucks, right?
well, I'll tell you though, if you do take a charter flight from a relatively small deal, uh, the biggest thing a charter pilot has to do, a young charter pilot, is not let the passengers know how scared they are. That's, that's the truth. You were in the Air
Oh,
Force, right? Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
telling all the secrets,
Well,
man. Yeah.
I'm out of it now. I don't have to worry about it too much now. But yeah, it was quite a great. I mean, but just the freedom that you feel, getting in that plane and hitting the wild blue yonder was just awesome. Just got tons of stories about that.
Yeah, one of my goals here at the end of Q4 2022 is to buy a plane because I'm realizing, I know you could do charter and stuff, which is awesome or whatever, and I do some of that. But the biggest thing is like it's still like requires like a lot of time and planning, and I'd love to just pop in my plane, move on whenever I want, however I want to do it. Do you own a plane,
No,
or
I,
have you ever
I
owned a
never
plane,
owned
Tom?
a plane because I worked for an FBO and had access to all the planes I wanted.
Naturally,
But
yeah,
but
yeah.
the thing is, planes, uh, you can finance them for like 20 years. So you can get into a plane very inexpensively, but you got to consider hangar fees and fuel, and there's the everything on a plane is redundant. So you got two spark plugs for each cylinder and two everything, in case one fails. So there's other things you have to consider when you're doing it, but it's just a blast. I'm telling you. I gotta tell you, it was one of the most fun things. And I was a charter pilot, but the downside of that is like you're basically a high class chauffeur, because
Yeah.
you're taking executives here and there, and then you're sleeping on a plane for 13 hours waiting for them to come out and eating out of candy machines. But if you're doing it for fun, oh, it's just it's just a blast. Um, so great. Well, thanks for coming on. Tell them how they get a hold of you, how they get listen to the podcast, and all that stuff.
Yeah, Tom, first of all, I appreciate just, having a good conversation, just chatting and talking about life and where where life can take us,
Hmm.
and allow me to be on this podcast. They can reach out to me really just anywhere. ChristianDEvans.com, Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. That's one of the biggest things. And in that, there's just free resources, just more training, education. If you're stuck at 1 million, 2 million, even if you're low six figures, that's okay. You can just consume some of the content that I have there, and just being able to implement that into your business and take your life to the next level. And when you qualify, you and I can talk or whatever, and what that looks like for those listeners. But yeah, again, Tom, I just appreciate the time that you've given me, and I really look forward to adding value to your audience as much as I can.
My pleasure, man. And when I come on your show, I think I'll talk about ballet, maybe. No, I better not. No. Last time I did anything like that, I broke the balance beam. So, but I will leave you with one thing that I was told many, many years ago, and this is going to stick in your mind, and it won't mean a lot right now, but when the time comes, it's going to mean a lot. Here it is. You ready?
Let's do it.
Professional pilots land on the center line. Professional pilots land on the center line. So that means you've got such great control of that plane that no matter how the wind is messing with you and everything, you will land it on the center line. All right, so I didn't say crash it on the center line, but land it. And when you get in that cockpit and you make your first landing, it's going to stick in your head. Uh-oh, there's the center line. I got to make sure I land on it because you don't want to run off the side of the runway. There you
That's
go.
awesome.
All right,
That's
man.
awesome. I appreciate
And then any
it.
questions you have about this, like I said, I'm not current or anything, but I've got a lot of tips on learning and flying and what to do, what not to do. But go get that private pilot course, couple $100 maybe, and it will totally save you thousands of dollars of being in the plane, not knowing what the heck's going on. So there we go.
That's awesome. I appreciate it, Tom. Thanks for it.
All right, everybody. We will catch you on the next flying related episode. We'll see you later.